Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. First and foremost, Jay, I want to apologize to the people that follow the channel. We have been absent over the last 5 days. We were having some technical difficulties with some of our computers, and because of that, we haven't had the opportunity to put out content. But we are back, and I do want to dive into a specific topic here, Jay, because we saw a lot of this going on in the Discord, and we've actually seen conversations around this across social media as well. And it goes into this whole situation with Gervonta Davis and the fact that he has a rematch clause in his contract when he faces Lamont Roach. Now, Jay, there are a lot of people in our Discord and other folks that counter these arguments, but people in the Discord are basically stating that Gervonta Davis having a rematch clause in his contract would indicate that there's some type of doubt, if you will, in the psyche of Gervonta Davis, which is very interesting to me, Jay, and it really ties back to the hate that we've seen over the years for Gervonta Davis, and it really comes from a specific section of boxing fans. It's typically your Shakur Stevenson / Terrence Crawford boxing fans that are the ones that are typically coming up with these ridiculous statements. Jay, throughout history, when you talk about the sport of boxing, the A side has generally had a rematch clause built into his contract because guess what? Things happen. You could roll an ankle. You could hurt your hand. You could sustain a cut that occurs after 4 rounds where it goes to the scorecard and you end up losing. So you are going to put yourself in the best situation as the A side to protect yourself. And that has happened throughout the sport. I would imagine that Gervonta Davis has had rematch clauses in all of his latest fights. I would say the last 3 or 4 probably there's been a rematch clause in the contract. I would also venture to say that someone like Shakur Stevenson has probably had rematch clauses in his contract over his last few fights in case something happens. I would also argue that Terrence Crawford in his latest fight against Israel Madrimov also had a rematch clause in the contract because you never know what will happen. That is just standard business practice as it relates to the sport of boxing. And also, it's a standard business practice in general. Not only is it standard business practice, Jay, but it's also a standard personal practice. For instance, Jay, do you believe that you're going to go out today and go get hit by a car or go run into a telephone pole? I would venture to say that you don't believe that that's going to happen, yet you still have insurance. And why do you have that? In case it happens.
Just in case.
Individuals that have significant wealth may sign a prenup. Why? Because they're not going into a situation where they believe that their marriage is going to end, but just in case it does, considering the fact that statistically it is more likely that their marriage will end in divorce than otherwise, you make sure that you prevent against all of your resources and assets being taken from you. It's just a standard practice. So the fact that people are now trying to tie this into some type of doubt as it relates to Gervonta Davis is actually comical to me. And it illustrates the fact that there is so much hate as it relates to this man. I don't know why. Why don't you guys just appreciate the guy for who and what he is? A very authentic person who is an absolute excellent boxer. And that's the reason why he has the fan base that he has. And your guy doesn't, because your guy isn't deemed to be genuine and authentic. That is the reason why. Jay, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I find it funny, man. The thing about Tank, they're going to miss Tank when he's gone. They're going to miss him when he's gone. Before what he brings to the ring, and overall, people are really enamored with him, just the way he is. He's quiet, but he's funny. When you see him open up, you're like, this kid clowning. He's a goofball. He admitted to being a goofball. That's his true personality. But to try to say the A side, to say that the A side's scared for having a rematch clause, that's just stupid. You just named a list of fighters that have had rematch clauses. It wasn't because they're scared, just because they want to be proactive and be just in case. Tim Tszyu would have loved to have had a rematch clause because that cut changed the tone of that fight. Totally changed the tone of that fight because he was beating Fundora up until that cut. And I give him credit for trying to fight through it. I don't know about his team for keeping that fight going beyond 4 rounds. Kind of seal this deal. We'll be having a different conversation about Tim Zoo right now. So I mean, I'm not mad at that at all. I'm rather be safe than sorry, because especially in boxing, you don't know how these judges are. They gonna do what judges gonna do what they gonna do. We've seen that time and time again. You're like, why is it happening like that? You wish you would have had a rematch in this. Plus, also, it's like, if it's a great fight, if it's close, you might want to run it back and double up your money as well on that. I mean, that's a good strategy in that aspect as well, because that's going to give you more money for a rematch. So people just hating the hate is ridiculous. It's just crazy on that. It makes no sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense to me, and it's unfortunate because I just feel like we should appreciate the dude while he's here, right? And I get we're all going to have detractors. I mean, there's going to be people that are going to be critical of you regardless, and you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. I'm sure AM Sports Media is not everybody's cup of tea, and I understand that, and we are criticized in the comment section all the time, and I have no problems against that, right? But some of the criticism as it relates to Gervonta Davis for me is just absolutely ridiculous. And this is one that I feel that even the ones that are coming up with these narratives and scenarios here, I mean, come on, guys. Your guys is also signing these contracts that have rematch clauses in them. Common sense would suggest that is occurring, yet you're coming up with these ridiculous statements. I mean, all you do is discredit yourself. You're not making strong arguments. What you're doing is discrediting yourself in future arguments because you make yourself look like a fool when you argue things that are typically standard in the sport, not only in the sport, but in business, not only in business, but also in your personal life. We are all programmed to mitigate risk. That's all that is, mitigating risk of financial impact to your life.
Real well.
Huh? Yeah, I know you know about that extremely well. Yeah, extremely well, considering your profession. So I struggle with people who do this. I struggle with your logic, and then you lose credibility with me personally when we start to have these discussions in these forums, whether it's the Discord or on social media. To me, it just all of a sudden I'm like, this guy's either a blithering idiot or someone who is so biased that there's no reason to have a conversation with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's I don't get it. I mean, you can try to say hate on other things, but this ain't the hill you want to die on. To me, there's so many other things you could try to go on, but this ain't it, because your guys doing the same thing.
Absolutely, they're all doing it. You guys tell us what you think in the comment section in regards to this dialogue that's been out there currently on social media and also in the Discord. Make sure you go find AM Sports Media Discord. We're always talking boxing 24/7. You can find Jason and I in the Discord as well. Let us know what you think. Don't forget to hate, like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Angry Man Podcast, AM Sports Media, and we are